Linkin Park is back, but unfortunately that reunion isn't going as smooth as we had hoped, with Emily Armstrong on Friday releasing a statement in response to the backlash surrounding her association with Danny Masterson. There have also been questions about her connection with Scientology. She didn't address that in the statement, but you have a lot of other conversations happening as well. Chester Bennington's son now, Jamie Bennington, is now speaking out about this as well. And also you have Cedric Bixler-Zavala from the Mars Volta and At the Drive-In also talking about this. He responded to her statement. He had initially called her out, and now he's also taking issue with Linkin Park. Now, the band just announced that new single and the subsequent record called From Zero. The single's out everywhere now with the music video. It's called The Emptiness Machine. It's getting really good reviews, but there are also a lot of people who are unsure about listening to Linkin Park without Chester's voice. There are people who don't like it, but it's certainly been very much something that has a lot of people talking and debating. Plenty of people who don't like it, and of course, plenty of people who do like it. Now, needless to say, there are a ton of people ready to buy tickets to see Linkin Park perform, and that is clearly evidenced by the fact that Linkin Park shows sold out in about an hour or under an hour. It did really well. I tried to get tickets. It was a total shit show for me. Hopefully it went better for you. But the main thing here is that there are a lot of really excited fans ready to go see Linkin Park live. Now, aside from the questions about Emily and Scientology and Danny Masterson and all of that stuff, I thought her vocals were good. I thought she has grit in her screams. I thought she has a good stage presence. And I really have no question about her ability to perform with Linkin Park. It seems like they have musical chemistry also. So I'm really looking forward to the chance to see them perform live, and I think that's going to go well. But again, you have people that have known her that are speaking out about this, namely, Cedric Bixler-Zavala is very much infuriated by this entire situation because he says his wife was intimidated. He says that, Danny Masterson allegedly drove by slowly in a car after one of the court hearings and was staring at her and all of this stuff. And he's really taking issue with Emily Armstrong. But the thing is, she did totally make herself clear in that statement that she stands with the victims. And her statement was totally plausible. She said, look, I thought he was a good guy. I was, misled by him. And then I found out later, I realized I shouldn't have gone there. And then I learned terrible things about him, and he was ultimately convicted. And so, I think she deserves credit for saying that. I know that there are also many people out there who feel like her statement might have been too crafted or, whatever. You're going to hear that from Cedric Bixler-Zavala for sure. And he's also taking issue with Linkin Park. He feels like they should have seen this coming. They didn't vet this properly, and he's calling them out as well. And now you have Chester's son, Jamie Bennington. He doesn't like the way this has been handled either, and he's speaking on this subject matter too. Here is what we know. Linkin Park's new lead singer, Emily Armstrong, addressed the backlash late Friday night. Shortly after it was revealed that Emily would be the new singer of Linkin Park, chatter started to emerge that Emily attended an early hearing in support of now convicted rapist Danny Masterson from That 70s Show. There were also questions about Emily's ties to the Church of Scientology, where Danny Masterson is a member. Emily was photographed at the religion's 44th anniversary gala, and in an article posted on the church's official news website, she was described as a prominent member back in 2013. Emily's statement on Friday night came after the Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler-Zavala called her out on social media for her ties to Scientology and her past offense of Danny Masterson. Bixler-Zavala's wife is one of Masterson's accusers. After being convicted in court on charges brought by two Jane Doe accusers, Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. In a statement speaking against Emily Armstrong, the Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler-Zavala claimed that a group of Scientologists surrounded one of the Jane Doe accusers when she was trying to leave the elevators at court, claiming that the court sheriff had to escort her away from the group. He wrote, "Remember, Emily? Remember how your fellow Scientologist goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriffs had to escort her away from your awful cult." Emily Armstrong addressed the backlash late Friday night, writing, "Hi, I'm Emily. I'm new to so many of you, and I wanted to clear the air about something that happened a while back. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance, and went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized I shouldn't have. I always try to see the good in people, and I misjudged him. I have never spoken with him since. Unimaginable details emerged, and he was later found guilty. To say it as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes. Cedric Bixler Zavala responded to Emily's statement and also took issue with Linkin Park. He wrote, in part, "Your apology is worded as if you hired some PR crisis team to help you. As for you, Linkin Park, you should fire your entire team for not thoroughly vetting your choice. You're a Disney-level brand trying to make a comeback, and you didn't think to spend a little money on looking into her? Stop playing At the Drive-In's music on your pre-show playlist." And one person who's apparently been paying attention to the controversy surrounding the new Linkin Park singer is none other than Chester Bennington's son, Jamie Bennington. In this statement shared by TMZ, Bennington specifically takes issue with Mike Shinoda, writing, "Hey Mike, people aren't having a difficult time wrapping their head around the prospect of Linkin Park reinventing itself. They are having a hard time wrapping their head around how you, one, hired your friend of many years, Emily Armstrong, to replace Chester Bennington, knowing Emily's history in the church and her history as an ally to Danny Masterson is what it is. 2, quietly erase my father's life and legacy in real time, not only during a band interview meant to clear the air about certain aspects of Linkin Park's history and future, but during International Suicide Prevention Month. 3, have refused to acknowledge the impact of hiring someone like Emily without so much as a clarifying statement on the variety of victims that make up your core fan base. No acknowledgement of the way you groom your fan base, Chester's kids or family, my falling out with your wife, who cannot be mentioned either, Danny Masterson's victims, or even Emily's alleged intimidation of those victims. And the list goes on and on and on. What you've done is not something for people to acclimate to. It's not a shock that people are just going to have to take time to process and understand. You have betrayed the trust loaned to you by decades of fans and supporting human beings, including myself. We trusted you to be the bigger, better person, to be the change, because you promised us that was your intention. Now you're just senile and tone deaf. Insane. At this point, I would wager that all you LP guys know is disrespect. You didn't trick me. So in Emily's statement, she doesn't really say anything about Scientology. She also doesn't mention Danny Masterson by name, but she does make it pretty clear how she feels with regard to, being associated with him in the past, realizing through this trial that she learned really horrible details. And I just think you got to just move forward at a certain point. Nobody's perfect, and she is obviously a talented singer. And so I think ultimately the fans have to decide what they want to do. Do you want to support this? Do you not? You don't have to go, and really tickets are hard to get anyways. But, it's just one of those things. She's under the microscope right now because she is stepping into this massive band, and she addressed it directly. I don't think she addressed it exactly how people had hoped she would address it or whatever some people thought. But I think there's plenty of people as well that look at that and go, that's a satisfactory response. But, as with anything, I say this all the time here on the channel, it really just comes down to what people want to see. If it's a question of whether or not she shouldn't be allowed to perform in Linkin Park or they should kick her out of the band, based on what I've seen, I don't think that this warrants that at all. I just think that ultimately, if you're a fan, if you like the way she sounds, and if you have any question about Linkin Park's ability to perform, I think they answered that pretty clearly with their live show and the live stream, and I thought the rollout has been really fun. It's not exactly how I would do it, but overall, I think that it was really cool, especially leading up to the rollout, the countdown clock, all of that stuff was just fantastic, and it was so much fun. And, just overall, I'm very excited to see Linkin Park back, and, let's give them a chance. This is all just starting to roll out. I'm looking forward to hearing the record and everything, but, it's also fair to mention people's concerns about all of this, how they feel. Certainly, I think Cedric Bixler Zavala has totally a good reason to be very furious at anyone who was associating with Danny Masterson. And I also think that her response was fair. Like, hey, I thought he was a different person and I learned differently, and I'm sorry that I did that. So again, I just am curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below as always. And that's your latest update from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe and notifications on for the latest news and updates.